Welcome to Book to Blueprint, where powerful books become practical blueprints for real life. You do not need more information, you need execution. This is Book to Blueprint. We're not just going to summarize a book today, we're giving you a direct blueprint for action. This is all about turning these ideas into a practical plan you can start using, like, right now. So here's the game plan. We'll start with the end goal, what you're actually going to achieve. Then we'll break down the one big idea that makes it all possible, give you a new mental operating system, and walk through the daily actions to make it your new reality. First things first, let's get super clear on the core outcome. This isn't about feeling a little bit better on a good day, it's about a complete, fundamental shift in how you experience your life. So, what's the actual promise here? Look at this. We're talking about ending that constant, nagging psychological suffering, becoming someone who isn't hijacked by every negative thought that pops into their head. It's about tapping into a state of peace that isn't dependent on what's happening outside of you. This is the goal. Okay, so how has it changed that massive even possible? Well, it all comes down to one incredibly powerful idea. A single source that, once you really get it, makes this whole transformation click into place. This is the big question, isn't it? We spend so much of our lives looking for the cause of our pain out there, in our jobs, our relationships, our past. But what if the answer is way, way simpler and a lot closer to home? And boom, there it is. This is the absolute game changer. It's not your circumstances, but your thinking about your circumstances that creates the pain. Let that sink in for a second. The situation isn't the problem. The story you tell yourself about the situation is. Once you truly understand this, everything changes. So to really apply this big idea, you need a new mental framework. Seriously, think of it like you're upgrading your mind's operating system from something old and clunky to something sleek, fast, and efficient. And this new OS runs on a few core principles. The core of this new OS is a concept called non-thinking. Now, hold on, this doesn't mean your mind goes blank. That's impossible, right? It just means you stop grabbing onto every thought and treating it like a fact. It's about letting thoughts drift by like clouds without getting swept up in the storm. These are the new rules of the game. Internalize them. Your experience is created from the inside out. Those bad feelings, they're not a sign that life is terrible, they're just an alarm bell, a little nudge telling you you're lost in thought again. And beneath all that mental noise, your natural state, your factory default, is peace. All right, enough theory. Now for the good stuff. This is the practical, step-by-step guide for actually putting this new operating system to work in your daily life. The entire strategy, when you boil it all down, is about one thing: creating space, mental space. We're going to do this in two parts. First, we'll manage your external world, and then we'll master your internal world. Phase one is about cleaning house. I want you to make a list of everything in your environment that reliably triggers negative thinking. People, social media apps, news sites, you name it. Then rank them by how much they mess with your peace. And finally, pick the top few and make a real plan to get them out of your life or reduce their power over you. But hey, triggers aren't always outside of us, right? What do you do when the call is coming from inside the house? What about those deep, destructive habits that just seem to pop up out of nowhere? This part is all about becoming a detective of your own mind. You have to get radically, brutally honest. First, name the habit. Then, write down exactly when and where it happens. But here's the most important part. Identify the feeling that comes right before it. Is it boredom, loneliness, anxiety? You've got to name that feeling. And this is where the magic happens. Once you see the feeling and the thought causing it, you simply ask yourself, is that thought 100% true? Then, and this is key, you stop trying to think your way out of the problem. You get quiet, you create space, and you just listen for an inner wisdom. When an insight comes, you'll literally feel a shift, a release. That's the real change happening. Now, this isn't a one-and-done kind of thing. It's a practice. To keep this new operating system running smoothly and maintain that peace, you've got to build some consistent, recurring behaviors. This table right here, this is your weekly game plan. No more guesswork. Make these things non-negotiable. Every morning, create some space. Every week, review those triggers. Whenever you have a decision to make, practice listening to that quiet gut feeling instead of the loud, anxious voice in your head. And just constantly, gently notice when you're lost in thought. That's the entire practice. Okay, finally, let's talk about the roadblocks. These are the common mistakes that trip people up. If you know what they are ahead of time, you can just sidestep them and keep moving forward. The first and biggest mistake is trying to fight your own mind. You can't win that war. You've probably heard it before. What you resist persists. So the blueprint approach isn't to fight, it's just to notice. Become aware of the thought, and then just let it pass by. Awareness, not resistance, is what makes them dissolve. The next trap is believing that you have to think harder, analyze more, and just grind your way to a solution. You have to be willing to let go of the idea that your obsessive thinking is your greatest asset. Often, it's the very thing holding you back. Your best ideas and clearest answers will come from the quiet, not the chaos. This one is so crucial to avoid. When you feel bad, the immediate temptation is to blame something outside yourself. The traffic, your boss, the weather. The blueprint requires you to always bring the focus back inside. That negative feeling is a signal about your thinking, not about the world. So let's end by remembering just how close you always are to a completely different experience of life. It's not some long, hard journey. It's just one thought away. The distance between suffering and peace is simply the space between believing a thought and letting it go. You know that tangled mess of thinking we all get caught in? It's not a permanent condition. It's not who you are. It's a choice. And you now have the exact blueprint to gently and patiently untangle it. And that brings us to the final and most important question. This isn't theoretical. Let's start right now. What is the one recurring, painful thought that you are willing to just stop believing today? Your freedom begins with that single choice. If you have a book in mind that should be added to our list, comment below. If this blueprint helped you, subscribe, like, and build with us. More blueprints are coming. Stay intentional, stay consistent. We are doing this one book at a time. And remember, you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. So share this with them and grow together. Real progress becomes stronger when it is shared. Build your life one blueprint at a time. You do not attract what you want, you attract what you do.